Hey everybody, this is Dan. Today I'd like to share a short chess puzzle with you guys. It's been a really long time since I posted a video, so I'm really glad to be back. This particular puzzle comes from last year's World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen, who was defending his title, and Sergey Karjakin, who was the challenger last year. So the classical portion of the match was 12 games, and I think there were 10 draws, one win for Carlsen, one win for Karjakin. So it ended up with a 6-6 tie. So that means that the players played 4 rapid games, which were at a 25-minute time control with 10-second increment per move. And this particular puzzle is literally the last move of the last of those 4 rapid games. So this is sort of the move that sealed the deal and captured the championship again for Carlsen. He was able to retain his title after winning 2 of those 4 rapid games. So this is the last move of the last game, which sealed the title for him. So in any case, in this particular puzzle that you see here, it is white to move. So feel free to take a minute and see if you can find the best continuation for white. Feel free to pause the video and press play when you're ready. Okay, so one of the most important pieces of advice that I ever received as a developing chess player is just to always be aware of any checks and any captures that are on the board, whether that's any checks or captures that you have in a given position, or any checks or captures that your opponent might have in response to whatever move you're thinking about. Just always a good idea to think about any checks, any captures. Um, those are 2 types of forcing moves which you would just always want to be aware of. Okay, so in any case, there is a very strong forcing move here in the form of a check, and the move is queen to h6 check. So this was actually the move that forced Karjakin's resignation in the last rapid game and ended the match. And so we look at this move, this queen sacrifice. I think this is so cool because you don't see this type of queen sacrifice very often on the board in top play these days. Most of the time the players are so strong that they avoid these types of continuations, or they'll resign before it actually gets to be played. But in this case, because the game was so quick, it was a 25-minute game. Obviously, time was an issue, and we did get the privilege of seeing this kind of queen sacrifice played in a world championship match. So let's take a look at why this is such a good move. When you're in check, there's 3 ways to get out of check. You can block a check, but in this case the queen is right up next to the king, so there's no way to block. You can move your king. In this case, the only move is to take the queen, and you can capture the checking piece. In this case, as we said before, the king can take the queen, or the pawn on g7 could actually also capture the queen. So we'll look at both of those options. If the king takes the queen, then it's rook to h8 checkmate, and white wins. And if the pawn takes the queen, then it is rook takes on f7 checkmate, and white wins also. So going back to this queen sacrifice, queen to h6 check forces either king takes queen or pawn takes queen, but both of those result in immediate checkmate. So the queen move is actually the first move of a mate in 2. Completely forced. There's nothing black can do to prevent mate. Again, either king takes, rook to h8, or pawn takes, rook takes f7. So a really cool way, I thought, to end a world championship match with this sort of queen sacrifice forcing mating continuation. So sort of a homework for you guys if you're interested. If you go back to before Black's king was over here and before this move was played, the previous move had been Carlsen had played rook to c8 check, and then the king had gone over to h7, and that's where we saw that queen sacrifice take place. But if you go back to this position before that rook check preceding the sacrifice, after rook to c8, it's a good exercise to work out what are all the other lines that could happen here, because actually everything ends in a forced checkmate, but some of the lines are quite a bit longer than the one that was played in the match. So the key idea is, if instead of king h7, if black plays bishop f8, what happens now? So that's sort of something you can work out and take some time, set it up on a board, and work out all the lines that could come after that, but the hint that I'll give you is that every single thing that black can do results in a forced checkmate for white with correct play. So interesting exercise if you're interested in just setting this up and seeing if you can work out after bishop f8 block, what does white play and how does the game go from there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will really try to get on a schedule of making videos more regularly, but in any case, I appreciate any likes, any comments, any feel free to subscribe to the channel, and have a great one. Thank you so much.